Ladies and gentlemen, in this video today, I am going to explain to you precisely why the TV system is just an inherently bad system in Zenless Zone Zero. And before I go into the why, I want you to understand, I actually don't think the TV system is horrible. I think it has the wrong role in this game. It has a role that simply is just probably the worst role to hand that kind of system. Storytelling inside of video games is actually quite methodical, and it has to be handled with care and a meticulous nature. When you tell a story inside of a video game, what makes a video game is playing the story. When we look at Zenless Zone Zero, they've come up with a number of ways to tell a story, and they all go down to one goal in mind: to keep you engaged and connected to the story, to retain your attention as much and as long as possible. In ZZZ, they developed a brilliant way of telling a story that is not only innovative and disruptive to the genre, it's also original. That is the comic book style of telling the story. I love this comic book style of telling a story. It's top-notch quality. The way they've produced the scenes is absolute gorgeous. And I'm able to, look forward to it each and every time it pops up on the screen. But that's not the only variable. They also have their traditional way of telling a story, which is the static background, 2 characters or 3 characters going back and forth, yapping amongst one another. Hoyoverse loves telling a story like that, and they've even kind of pioneered a way for other games to do it. Wuthering Waves now does it as well. It's kind of cringe, but it's trendy, and it worked. Then they have cutscenes. That's another variable into the puzzle known as storytelling in Hoyoverse. And then there's one variable they added in that it didn't hit. They took a risk with it and it didn't hit. And that is the TV system. Whether you know this or not, after you're done with the static background or the comic book way of the storytelling in ZZZ, the continuation of the story is playing the story. And playing the story in ZZZ is very much, whether you know it or not, the TV system. During the Nikomata arc, where you're trying to transport all those civilians out of that one little stationary area where Vision is basically trying to commit genocide on them because they don't want to pay the money to deal with the cost of living of a whole entire civilization of people. I don't want to go into the details on that, but just know during that arc, you're trying to save those civilians and prevent them from being killed by Vision. You have to put them on trains as a mission to get them out of that zone. You have to do certain things to get them out of that zone. You do that part in the TV system. Yeah. And whether Hoyoverse thought that was going to keep you engaged or not, I can tell you right now without a shadow of a doubt, 95% of the people that play this game and did not look at it as an engagement of the story. They looked at it as, how the hell do I get out of this system so I can continue playing the game and continue the story? So it completely disconnects you from the story. It distracts you and it disrupts the engagement of the story. And I thought about this and I came to this epiphany by going to the video archive inside of the game. We'll get to that in a bit. But when I got out of doing the TV system, I didn't get out of it like, oh, I'm retaining that. I was saving citizens and putting them on trains. I got out of it and then it put me into another cutscene and I was like, well, what the hell's going on here? When did we get here? And what the fuck just happened? All I heard was a bunch of yapping. You know what I mean? I was completely disconnected. And it was thanks to the TV system's role in this game, which, as I said, it's inherently a bad role for that TV system. It's not designed to be a part of storytelling, and it shouldn't be. It should be a part of a roguelike mode where you're getting buffs and going into instants and fighting enemies and stuff. I think if you change that role from that to storytelling, it would be a much more accepted system. And I'll give you some clear-cut examples that you pretty much cannot deny. When you're telling a story inside of God of War, as I told y'all before, what makes a video game a game is by playing the game. The player is playing the game. If you take out the play part of a game, it's no different from watching a television show. It's no different from watching a visual novel. When you're playing God of War story, after they have their methodical procedure of telling the story, which is by listening to it as you're walking into the open world exploration, same thing with Final Fantasy VII, now you have to play the story. And I just realized this is such a significant variable that has to be handled with care because the goal is to keep you engaged and keep you retaining what's going on. So in God of War, when you're fighting enemies and stuff, that's a way to disconnect you from the story. But to keep you secure, they have to throw some dialogues in there and some cutscenes here and there, or it's like not necessarily a visual god tier graphical cutscene, but something is occurring as you're playing the game to keep you mindful of, hey, we're still playing a story, right? That doesn't exist in Zenless Zone Zero. When you go inside of these instant-based maps, there is absolutely zero immersion of a story. You're just beating up bad guys, kicking butt, and then boom, nothing happens. That's a disconnect from the story. On top of the TV system, I look at the TV system in a way. I don't think they were trying to be lazy, but it is a lazy way of telling the continuation of a story. I would have much rather seen some type of visualization of saving people and putting them on trains inside of the instant based maps, as opposed to doing that all inside of a TV system. Anyways, hopefully that makes perfect sense. But now I want to show you how I even got to this answer. It was the video archive. The freaking video archive has every single scene that you've went through in the game all contained in that one spot. The comic book story scenes, the static background story scenes, cut scenes. I'm talking about Miyabi when she dashed and darted around the map like Zenitsu Agatsuma. We know where y'all got that inspiration from. That was literally all Zenitsu Agatsuma right there. Anyways, all of that shit is in the video archive. You can watch it as many times as you want. Most importantly, you can watch all the dialogues without any distractions, any disruptions. You don't have to go through a TV system. You don't have to like play a game. You can just watch it all back to back to back. And when I was doing it, I went to the Nikamata section because I was like, let me see if I can figure out why I don't like this story. Why is it dog shit? Why did I feel like every single piece of dialogue was just bickering, yapping, shooting the shit, and I didn't know the point of it? It was because of I was not able to stay immersed into the story due to all the things that were occurring in between. And when I watched it back in the video archive without disruptions and distractions, I was like, wait, hold on. Why the hell am I actually keeping up with this? Why am I enjoying it? Why is it not as annoying or as like pointless as I thought it was prior to doing this? Oh, I don't have to do a TV system. Oh, I'm not playing the game, like doing all these other things that disconnect me from what's actually occurring. And that is when I had the epiphany that that is the reason why it's bad. The TV system is bad. So if you can make the excuse, by the way, because yes, I did do it live on stream. You can make the excuse that, oh, well, Smack, you got disconnected because you're too busy talking to chat. Well, I talked to chat during the Honkai Star Rail story, and we had a great fucking time about the story. We were talking about many different concepts and plots during the story, got into many different debates and arguments, which proves that it's not chat or me being live that disconnects me from the story. It's however the hell they're choosing to tell the story. You get what I mean? So it's problematic, the TV system. You have to find another way to keep us engaged in your story by playing the game. If the TV system is the only means of us playing the game while telling the story, I just don't think it's going to work out too well for you guys. I think you need to pivot and you need to do an instance-based map that doesn't just consist of beating up bad guys, but you also have these short little scenes of the objective in mind of the storytelling that are occurring to keep people retained. Before I end this video off, I do want to go and show you guys off the video archive so that you can see for yourself how cool this is. I think it's really cool. And like I said, I dare say it is the biggest reason why the file size of Zenless Zone Zero is so monumental. It's because they added this amazing quality of life perk into the game. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so once you get back to your little home base, you come over here and here's the video archive. They have Phaethon's story, which is the MSQ, right? And then they have agent stories, which I imagine this is going to be, because we're about to do, what is her name? Soldier number 11. We're about to do her main story quest. Every time you do a main story quest for any characters that are coming out in the future, this is going to be where you can go back and look at the stories. But if we go to Phaethon's story, this is the MSQ. Every single chapter we've done is contained over here with this beautiful ass retro aesthetic. And what's crazy about it is every comic book scene, every static scene, and every cutscene that has occurred, it is in this video archive for you to go back and watch without any distractions and any disruptions. So again, I can click on the very beginning of the scene. Let's click next. It'll show everything. Then we can skip, right? Now it starts the comics.
These are dangerous.
And you can look at every single thing that's occurred, right? Skip. Whatever part of the story that you feel you weren't able to digest, you can go back and watch it and then move on. I was able to come over here to the Nikomata story. And dude, watching this back without any disruptions, I cannot stress to you, way better, because I wasn't like so freaking, my mind wasn't overstimulated like doing TV systems or, you know, fighting enemies. There's just too much of a disconnection in between for me to retain what was going on. And yes, again, me being live played a bit of a role in it to it as well, but that was not the main problem, as I already explained to you guys before. Problem was that damn TV system. So I implore you guys to come to this video archive and see if maybe you have a different perspective on the story as I did. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I have no idea. I can only share my own personal experience. But one thing that's for certain, it's certainly worth coming here and scrolling down to close quarters combat and getting another gander at this beautiful cutscene right here. I'm not going to show it in case anybody else hasn't got to that portion yet, but just know it's there for you to watch as many times as you want to watch it. If you're a weeb like me who completely loves weeb type of flashy cutscenes and edgy cutscenes like that, yeah, just go to close quarters combat and you can enjoy it. Another thing I want to mention about this video archive is it actually teases at things you haven't done yet. With the front page cover, I've come to realize all of the front page covers are going to tell you, much like a light novel, actually, they're going to tell you that whoever's on that front page cover, it's going to be about that character, right? So I haven't done this one yet, but I already know it's going to give some more depth to the bond between the two brother and sister, as well as how they got to the roles they got to, so on and so forth. So you can look at the front page cover and see some things. Big Ben, probably gonna learn about him. Bro looks country as hell. And then the Bellabog industry people, Grace and Kaleda, right? You can get a little sneak peek, and it goes all the way up to this page, and then after that it starts back over. So holy spoilers, right? Not spoiler, more like a teaser. Here's Zuyan's chapter right here. We're eventually gonna get to learning about Zuyan. She kind of looks like that agent that was the antagonist a little bit. That'd be crazy if it actually ends up being Zuyan, because that agent was looking kind of fine. Let me know your thoughts down below. This is going to wrap up my video. I hope I provided some good substance and context as to why you may or may not be enjoying the story as much as you could be. I genuinely think it is a TV system issue. It's in the wrong role. It needs to be more of a roguelike mode. It doesn't need to be a piece of storytelling. I think it's just, it doesn't transfer well into the storytelling atmosphere. Just check that out. You can keep it in the game, put it somewhere else. Like I said, I think it's more appropriate for roguelike purposes than storytelling. It's just, I think it's bad. Yeah, that's gonna wrap it up. Peace, love, and happiness. I'll catch you guys on the flip side.